Hey, HannahMouse1 here. Welcome to another devlog for A Farmer's Life, the farming game that I'm making in Scratch. In this video, I'll be adding the ability to decorate the farmhouse with all of the walls, floors and furnishings that I've added so far this update. I started by making some new icons. These included a move tool, a store tool, a rotate tool, and a clothes hanger that will allow you to open the wardrobe, as well as a decorate icon. I initially made it so that only the decorate icon shows when you enter the farmhouse, and I started to give the button some functionality, like making it so that the clothing icon opens the wardrobe instead of it opening as soon as you click on the wardrobe furniture item. I made it so that you could store the items. The biggest consideration here was that some of the furniture takes up multiple spaces, like the bed or the table, and I had to make sure that the storing of items covers any tiles that these objects take up. Next, I had to make it so that you can move objects. I had to create a list to contain information such as whether you're actively trying to move an object or if it's just selected, with the tools that are displayed changing based on whether or not this is true, and what tiles are effective based on the size and direction of the furniture item and what type of furniture item it is. I made it so that objects highlight if selected and ghost out if you're trying to move them. I also added a ghosted out overlay of where the item will be placed based on your mouse position, and I made it so that you can rotate any object except the square table that doesn't have rotation. I then had to sort out placing the objects. Single tile objects were simple enough, as were square objects. This just had to check more different tile spaces to see if they were free. 2x1s were a little fiddlier, as the second tile space has a different tile ID than the other. For instance, the bed head has the ID B and the foot of the bed has the ID C, but I was able to get all of that figured out. I then made the decorate tab where you can select the wall or floor that you want for your house and furniture items that you want to place. I recolored the furniture store's tab buttons for this page and made it so that you can switch between the tabs by clicking on them. I got the correct items to render on the page, with the brightness determined by whether you have the item and in the case of the walls and floors if it's selected, as well as the usual mouse over highlight. I added a back button to take you back to the farmhouse if you're done with the decoration. Then I sorted the mouse over UI, which was a little tricky. The furniture needed to say how many of the item you have, as well as the click to place UI, like any of the objects you can place in the farmwood in the inventory page. For the walls and floors, I needed it to say locked if you're yet to purchase the item, click to select if you bought it but not equipped it, and selected if the wall or floor is currently equipped in your house. The last two required me to make new UI labels to display. And I could then sort out actually clicking the items, making it so that you can set the walls and floors. I had to make a few tweaks to how the farmhouse is rendered to accommodate the coloured walls and floors because I'd not accounted for these before, and I made it so that you can place the furniture, which was pretty easy because I could just use the scripts that move the items that I coded earlier and add a few extra conditions to compensate for the different source. I then added in a gramophone furniture item, which is an idea that I floated in the previous episode. I made the art for it as you'll see it in the farmhouse with a costume for each of the 4 directions, and I also made the icon for it in the inventory and the furniture store. Also needed a name label and I added it to the item index. I got it displaying in the inventory, furniture store and farmhouse decorate menu. I also needed to add this new object to the sprites that determine the sorting order layers and the collision system. I then wanted to make this item functional, so I made a button for the toolbar with a musical note. This will allow you to select which track you want to play in areas such as the farm, farmhouse and bulletin board. I needed to make a button for every possible track, as well as arrows to scroll through the options, and I got these to display with options such as the barn track only becoming available if you've built the relevant building, and I gave the buttons functionality with the arrows allowing you to scroll up and down the list if there are enough options for this to be needed. I made it so that the song buttons actually change the song that's being played in the background. I'd like to add more objects with specific functions, so if you have any ideas for these, let me know in the comment section. I did also add in a few non-functional furniture items as well to give the player a few more decoration options. There's a leather chair and sofa, a bedside table, and a rainbow of differently coloured potted plants. Each of these needed art for how they'd appear in the farmhouse, with art for each rotation for everything except the plants, which can't be rotated. These needed inventory icons and name labels and had to be worked into the layering and collision systems. I then added each to the furniture store, inventory and decoration pages, and then worked them all into the furniture placement, rotation and storing systems. And finally, I made it so that you can rotate objects that you're moving with the keyboard, because it can be annoying to move your mouse away from the tile where you want to place it to press the rotate button. By default, this button is set to R, but I was sure to incorporate it into the keybind system so you can set it to whatever you want. And that's all I got done for this week, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you did, it lets me know there's something to see more of. Join the Discord, link down below, and I'll see you next week with another video. Bye!